Good evening. I'm Gary Franchi, Next News Network Chief White House Correspondent, delivering the latest White House news from the past 24 hours in partnership with our streaming partner, Trump Daily Post. Tonight's rundown starts in France, where President Trump closed out a high-stakes G7 stretch with momentum on Iran, visible support from world leaders, and a broader message that the United States is back in command on diplomacy, security, and economic confidence. We'll also cover the administration's new strike against Antifa-linked violence, the First Lady's Foster Youth Savings Initiative, and activity from the Vice President's family team. Now, the White House overall posture today centered on the close of the G7 summit in France, where President Trump pressed the preliminary U.S. Iran agreement, pushed implementation talks forward, and tied that progress to lower oil prices, stronger markets, and renewed American leverage. The White House also highlighted continued movement on a new national security team, enforcement against domestic extremism, and support for American families. And from the Pool report, during the president's bilateral meeting with Egyptian President el-Sisi, the president made clear that the memorandum of understanding with Iran does not trigger immediate sanctions relief. Trump said Iran must behave well first, and he flatly knocked down a false rumor about a $300 million construction fund, saying that the United States is not investing in it. And from the Pool report, Trump also said that the Iran MOU is still subject to performance and warned that if he's dissatisfied with the deal or Iran's conduct, military action can resume. He contrasted that posture with the Obama-era deal and underscored that U.S. operations against Iranian maritime assets have already imposed real pressure. From the Pool report, the Trump-el-Sisi meeting included Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, Dan Scavino, and NEC Director Kevin Hassett. The discussion covered trade and the Nile River dispute tied to the dam in Ethiopia, while el-Sisi praised Trump's peace efforts and pointed to strong reactions from other leaders. And according to the daily guidance reflected in the Pool reports, President Trump then joined a working lunch with G7 leaders, developing country representatives, and major technology executives as the summit talks continued. From the Pool report, that lunch focused on artificial intelligence and the digital age, with Trump joined by Rubio, Bessent, and Lutnick alongside leaders including Emmanuel Macron, Keir Starmer, Frederick Merz, Giorgia Meloni, Sene Tagakachi, Mark Carney, Antonio Costa, and Ursula von der Leyen, as well as executives from OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, Meta, and Salesforce. From the Pool report, in his later bilateral with Indian Prime Minister Modi, President Trump said that U.S.-India trade talks are very close and praised Modi as a tough negotiator. Trump also said his talks with Presidents Zelensky and Putin continue as he pushes to end the war in Ukraine, while adding that acting intelligence leadership will remain in place as needed during the confirmation process. In additional remarks, Trump criticized Democrats for advancing FISA without the Save America Act, which includes voter ID and proof of citizenship. He also said a formal Iran signing is expected on Friday and welcomed any helpful allied support around the Strait of Hormuz, while making clear the United States is leading. And also from the Pool report, Trump said that he wants Israel to protect itself while using good judgment in Lebanon. He also pointed to productive talks with AI leaders and said discussions involving Anthropic are moving well. And later, during a press gaggle in Paris, Trump said that a deal signing could come within 48 hours and signaled that Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to be involved. He also said that the U.S. military will likely remain in the Gulf for a while as conditions stabilize, and stressed confidence in current Federal Reserve leadership, even as he warned against higher rates. In a follow-up gaggle, Trump said that the 60-day negotiation period is not a hard cutoff so long as sides are behaving. He added that Europe and NATO are paying for munitions sent to Ukraine, and again tied possible Russia sanctions to oil prices. Also, from the Pool report, President Trump arrived at the Palace of Versailles for an evening engagement with the French President Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron, also a visible capstone to a day of summit diplomacy. The White House later said that Trump and Macron began dinner at about 10:53 p.m. local time, extending the administration's direct leader-to-leader engagement after the formal summit events. And back in the United States, the White House said that the Trump administration delivered another major blow to Antifa terrorist networks. The Justice Department charged 15 individuals tied to Antifa in Minneapolis for conspiring to violently obstruct immigration enforcement, building on convictions and charges already secured in Texas, Oregon, Washington, New Jersey, California, and Indiana. The White House also said that First Lady Melania Trump launched Fostering the Future Accounts, a Treasury-linked initiative built to help foster youth move towards financial independence. The accounts include tax-advantaged savings and investment opportunities with coverage highlighting $1,000 in seed money for eligible children and support from governors in multiple states. In another family-focused update, the White House said that Second Lady Usha Vance visited MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa to promote her summer reading challenge, meeting military families, reading with children, and expanding her literacy initiative through schools, service communities, and her new Story Time with the Second Lady podcast. And from the Pool Report, President Trump's formal G7 press conference, it wrapped after an hour and 7 minutes, closing a long day of summit activity before the travel pool moved out. A later pool filing on the Geneva airport departure appears to mirror the president's travel movement at the end of the summit stop, with top aides including Bessent, Wiles, Rubio boarding out with him. Another late pool filing from Paris reflected Trump's position on the 60-day clock that is flexible. The Iran MOU should be signed within 48 hours, and Vice President Vance is expected to take part. And trade and Fed questions remain in active view as the administration presses ahead. So taken together, the last 24 hours show a White House moving on several fronts at once. Trump driving diplomacy abroad, tightening pressure on threats at home, and keeping the administration's focus on security, growth, and opportunity for American families. And that's the latest from your 24-hour White House Rundown.